So today we're going to talk about the importance of the messenger. And this is again in my study book my devotional book that I got from my friend. And there's a lot of nice little studies in here. Today's study is again on John 13, verses 18 through 30. And the topic is the importance of the messenger. Anyone who welcomes my messenger is welcoming me, and anyone who welcomes me is welcoming the Father who sent me. And that's John 13 and 20. One of the strange characteristics of the Christian faith is that it is passed on from one person to another and from generation to generation. In Jesus' time, some of the disciples had obvious weaknesses, while others spread the gospel for many years. In spite of these discrepancies and problems, God continued using vulnerable people. In today's scripture, Jesus was on the verge of sending his disciples out into the world. They would witness for him to the ends of the earth. The people they witnessed to would never meet Jesus. Thus, the apostles were very important to God in the planning of his kingdom. They went out to tell people about Jesus and his love for sinners. They would tell people about God, who loved the world so much that he sacrificed his own son to save those who believed in him. God's power and omnipotence were so great that Jesus knew people would survive the weaknesses and imperfections of his messengers. Receive and tolerate God's messengers as well as the message they bring you. Accept them not for who they are, but for the sake of him who brings them to you and in whose place they stand. God does not necessarily call the capable, but he equips those that he calls. Now, 90% of this, or I'll say 95% of this, I agree with. The only part that I have a problem with is that where it says that we should tolerate God's messengers as well as the message that they bring you. Everything that somebody brings you is not sound doctrine. Some of their doctrine is not sent by the Lord. Some people will use the word for their own benefit, and they'll twist and turn some of the scriptures to make it sound good or make it be for their benefit. Now, we do have those who are truly for the gospel, who are truly in it for the saving of souls, who are truly in it for the gospel, to get that message throughout the world, to go into the world and deliver God's word to the people. And all of those people are not even coming from the platform of the pulpit. Some of them are just regular people that are getting God's message across, that Jesus saves. The problem I have with some of the messengers is that they are so-called messengers. Some of them are. They have their own agenda, and they expect people to tolerate and put up with what they do. Sorry, there's a train coming. But they expect people to put up with some of the foolishness that they give out they're using God's name basically in vain. They're stamping God's name on their mess. That's the thing that I'm not in agreement with. If you're going to say that you are a man of God or a woman of God, you ought to be representing his name well. And when you are a man or a woman of God, we hold you up to a higher standard because of who you're saying that you're representing. You're representing the Almighty. So because you have the title of pastor, bishop, apostle, whatever, we hold you up to that standard. You're expected to I don't know if I don't want to say be holier than the regular Joe, but in a way, like I said, we have higher standards of those who are claiming to be preachers or men and women of God because of whose name you're carrying. And if you don't represent in a good way, you make God look bad. Like, there's a lot of people now who are claiming to be Christians, who are claiming to be men and women of God, not even with the title of pastor or minister so-and-so, bishop so-and-so, but just Christians in general. They are not living up to their title of Christian, which is Christ-like. We are supposed to look like him. We are supposed to represent him. And yes, we're going to make mistakes. Yes, we are going to mess up in life because we are human. But that's not to say that's not to give us the excuse of let me do whatever I want to do and let me just say, okay, I'm only human. Put that stamp on it. And let me continue to do what I want to do and whatever. Not even occasionally sin, but sin continuously. And then saying you're a Christian, you are not representing Christ well at all. So if you're going to say that you're a Christian, that you are a believer, then yes, the world is holding you up to a certain standard. No, they should not treat you as God because you're not God, but you're representing God. So if somebody's representing me, I want them to represent me well. I don't want them to be an embarrassment to me. And for this reason, it have a lot of people looking at Christians like we're hypocrites. And there are a lot of people that are hypocrites, but there's a lot in the Christian world. There's a lot of people who are not. There are a lot of people who are for real square business for the Lord, and they ain't no joke. But they're not the ones that are seen. It's the ones that's doing foolishness that get the spotlight. The ones that should be sitting down somewhere still learning, but yet they're in front and heaping stuff into their own flesh, looking to get those accolades, looking to get financially stable, looking to get the spotlight and whatever other reason that they use to become a pastor or somebody that's on a higher platform. And if you're in it for that, you're completely in it for the wrong reason, and it's not going to be successful. You might look like you're succeeding for a moment, but there will come a time where you'll be knocked off that horse, because God's not mocked. If you're going to say that you're a man or a woman of God, he's going to hold you accountable for that. And you're going to be held accountable for the souls that were in your ministry that you didn't do right by. Now, if you did right by them and you did everything that you know to do as a man or a woman of God, when you stand before the Lord, you will not be ashamed, because you'll receive a crown, because he's going to say, well done to you. Don't take the things of the Lord lightly. And there's a lot of people that do because they have their own agenda. The fact that you have souls in your hands, that should scare you right there, that you have souls that you are accountable for. Because they see you doing certain things and they're like, well, this person is doing it, so, it must be okay because, I look up to them and this person is up here in the gospel, up here in the faith or whatever. We're a witness. Hopefully we're being a good witness. If you're not being a good witness, then you have to go to God about that and ask him to help change you, because there are people that are watching. And if you're the only Jesus they see, at least be a good Jesus. Don't be one that's just everywhere and not caring. There's a lot of people that are not in this for good reasons. They're in it for platforms. And like I said before, if you're in there for that, it's the totally wrong reason to be in it. You're not in it for souls. You're not in it for what God called you for, and it's not going to be successful. So we have to match who we say we are. If I say that, that I'm a Christian, then I have to match that. If I say that I am, I don't know. If I say that I tell you, like, say if I tell you, like, on social media, if I say, I'm 5'10", and that's a total lie, but wish. But if I said that I was 5'10", and then you come and meet me, and you see that I'm like 5'1.5", barely, then you're gonna say, that was false advertisement. Like when I go to McDonald's, and I haven't gotten a Big Mac in years, but I go to McDonald's and I get a Big Mac. I order a Big Mac. If I see that Big Mac look like a double cheeseburger, I'm going to be mad because I want my burger to look like the picture. And I've done that every time I've gone somewhere. I order something. Okay, I see the picture. The picture looks great. And so I order it. And then I get my order and I'm completely not satisfied because what I have does not look like the picture. And I'm saying, take this back. Take it back because it does not look like what I ordered. And I done this like last month, I believe. I had the waitress take something back like twice, two or three times, because it didn't look like the picture. What you're advertising, that's what you need to look like. You're a child of God, then you need to look like a child of God. There's no way that we should be twinning with the world. There should be a clear distinction between the world and the church. But we're so busy trying to match everything like them in our speech, in our dress, and just everything, period. Not saying that Christians can't have fun, but we shouldn't be trying to match them, trying to look like them. They should be trying to look like us. But right now, we're looking more like them. And right now, I'm sure God is saying, he's cleaning house, basically. I'm going to say it. I'm not going to say I'm sure. But he is. He is definitely cleaning house. And those that are phony, they're being exposed. And those that are of the truth, those are the ones that he's going to put on platforms. And you know why? Because he knows that they're not going to prostitute the gift. They're not going to take it for granted. They're not going to use it for their own glory. But when he puts us on that platform, we are going to glorify God. And that's why he won't even be afraid to put us up there, because he knows that all the glory is going to be returned to him. Anything that tries to come to us, he knows that we are going to return that glory to him, because it doesn't belong to us. And we know if we try to take his glory, then we're going to have to face that judgment of trying to take what doesn't belong to us. So you cannot, for those of us who are saying that we are believers, you cannot say that you believe something and you don't live what you believe. We live what we believe. If you don't, then you don't believe it. Your belief shows in how you live. So I was trying to I don't know, I was just putting my head down for a second. But what you believe shows in how you live. There's nobody that is questioning what I believe. They know. They everywhere I go, people know what I believe because I live it. Because like I said earlier, if I am the only Jesus they see, then I better be a good Jesus. And that is my intentions. I don't ever want anyone to question, what's going on with her. What kind of God do she serve? They're going to know that I serve the true and living God, because I'm going to live like it. And I'm going to make you want to live like it too. Amen. Be blessed, guys. Keep chasing 1,000.